We are done filling. There is no more time for hot dogs. There is no more time for nonsense. It is only time for 100 Thieves
We loaded
versus
back in
TL.
and he was a hot dog, I was going to be pissed. Just putting it out there.
Today, on this blessed day, we are all a hot dog.
Yeah.
As
It's a little hot dog in all of us.
River does not get caught out here. Team Liquid was waiting for him. Sniper's going to want to walk away from this one here, too. All right, nice. Sidesteps the Shock Blast.
Yep. So Sniper is going to be playing Electrocute kind of as expected. It is phase rush for impact, so he is not going to be going in towards Grasp, but still could kind of go for that pseudo tanky build. Phase rush obviously going to have a lot of value against both the Naafiri as well as that Aatrox, who you want to be able to disengage from when they look for those kind of all-in plays.
Yeah, and I'm super curious to see what River is going to do for his first path, right? Because, again, like, you kind of are looking for this Naafiri to get ahead, similar to what we saw from Contracts. He had some really creative pathing on that top side, so I'll be curious to see what River does.
Yeah, and Contracts wasn't afraid to play it very aggressively, right? If he knows he had his solo laners ahead, he would invade the enemy jungle on their second buff, really try to cause some havoc early on. We'll see if we get a similar story this game, but I feel like it's going to be a lot harder when one of the enemy solo laners is Jayce and then mid lane is Azir versus Ryze. You definitely aren't going to feel super confident in your solo laners being in control, having the push, and allowing you to have that extra tempo advantage.
Absolutely, and to touch back on the last time these teams played was back in finals. It was a 3-0 for TL, but it was not what the record sounds like, right? People were coming into this, I think they were really looking at it as though it was going to be, more of a 100 Thieves favorite thing. I think a lot of people had confidence in them. You look at the gold graphs, there was 100 Thieves advantages, especially Game 2 and Game 3, pretty significant advantages that they then weren't able to close out on. So despite the fact that they got swept, they actually were in winning positions in most of these games. And when you look at the actual predictions, people were kind of predicting a lot. I guess this was in quarterfinals, semifinals, and finals. People were predicting quite a bit, against 100 Thieves earlier on. But then once they got to the finals, I think it was pretty split, right? We had both Emily and Jat predicting that 100 Thieves would win. I was thinking they were going to win, but they didn't quite take it home. And we'll see if they can kind of build upon that from Split 1, because definitely Split 1, I think they looked a lot stronger than they did all last year. Yeah,
and I think there are, especially in terms of their map play, has been the biggest improvements that I've seen out of 100 Thieves, while interestingly enough also keeping that kind of very skirmish and fight-heavy style that they like. Just coming out of their game against C9 yesterday, they did have a 0.91 combined kills per minute coming out of that game. They were, at one point last split, the bloodiest team in the entire world, which I always think is really, really fun. And I know
that's a fun stat.
Yeah, and Golden Glue and their entire coaching staff have talked about how this is an identity they don't want to lose, even as they work on these core concepts like map play, like cross-map trading.
It's worth touching in on that top lane going very bad for Sniper. He's already used his potion. It's 23 CS to 13. Obviously, there are additional ways being pushed in to actually pick up here. But Impact hasn't even had to use his potions. He's in a great spot. And this is definitely one of the picks that I would have been critical of Impact on. So, if he can start having these good performances, hey, maybe he can kind of change that narrative and really change the way that they can draft and play. Because I do think he has some good carries, but I think of more like Rumble and GP and that sort of style than things like the Jayce, the Gwen, the Jax that I feel like he's been struggling a lot more on.
And if that struggle continues, it's going to feel even worse with the context of this was the last pick of the draft for 100 Thieves. They're on red side. R5 is what balances the two sides in the draft. And if your R5 just ends up completely getting obliterated in lane, falls incredibly far behind, you're constantly playing catch up throughout the game, well, that might lead to what we were hearing on stage with the last couple of picks didn't go exactly where we wanted them to go.
Well, especially when we're talking about Naafiri, right? And a champion that you really do kind of want to give early map pressure so she can kind of farm up, run havoc, be that assassin type carry that she can be. Because otherwise, like I said in draft, the risk with picking something like this in your jungle specifically is that you're just not giving a lot more to the team composition outside of raw damage in team fights.
Checking back in mid lane here. APA on his Azir. I did go ahead and look up the stats just because I wanted to be 100% sure. He is up to 11 lifetime games in pro now, I believe, on Azir with just about a 64% win rate. So definitely not as much of an Azir player, I think, as a lot of other mids are, but Quid's in some trouble. Has to try to get away from it. Flashes out, but he flashes late. That Ignite's going to burn him down. Surely the last little bit of damage. No! The only level 4. The Ignite just
Drink your
barely
potions.
too weak. Drink your potions, ladies and gentlemen. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Quid hangs on by a sliver of hell.
Flowers eating hot dogs,
Yeah.
Quid's eating potions.
Hot dog potion.
I was going to say potions are just as important as hot dogs.
Even more so.
Yeah. I do love that out of Core, though, right? Because I do think Core, again, we talked about the role of this Poppy in this team composition, but also disrupting Quid's lane, making it difficult for him to get any sort of laning advantages, have any sort of priority from the get-go, I think is a really good look from TL.
It is, but at the end of the day, Quid survives. You get the Flash Ignite off of Core, and you get the Flash off of APA for just your Flash, so that is really good for Quid. It was a great look, and I thought he was dead to rights also, but did not end up going that way. UmTi now here to challenge at the Grubs. Core, remember, down summoners. Eyla has both of his, so could be a little more difficult for TL to actually get in here, and I think UmTi's realizing that as top lane got pushed in by the 100 Thieves bot lane, and are going to be able to push him back.
So nicely done there from River to win the Smite battle for that second grub. River does not have any charges remaining on his Smite, but his team still has control over this top side River, so should be able to secure all 3 of the grubs. Core still hanging around seeing if maybe he could get a cheeky steal on this one, but it's not going to happen. 3 for 3 on the first set of grubs for 100 Thieves.
But TL is actually looking for an invade on the red buff. You know, I saw them moving up into that jungle, so River's going to have to be very aware of where they could be. We can actually see, you know, there was kind of little effects that were going off there on the red buff, so we know they're there.
Yeon gets away from the bullet time. Kind of what you were talking about earlier with Miss Fortune, Isaac. If you don't have the setup, you fire it off. Yeah, you get some good damage, you know, dust them with the bullets a little bit, but then they still just walk out of it. It will at least, I believe, get the barrier out of the Varus, so that might be something that they can capitalize on later as River now going to find UmTi at his chicken camp. UmTi has already stolen away the red. River will smite the big chicken, but still lose all of the extra little baby chickens there. Jumps over the wall. APA could be in some danger. Quid trying to get in there as APA with a good shovel to make some distance, but it ain't gonna matter. Quid is first on the board. River is low. They try to take him down. UmTi needs one more hit, but he won't get it. And Sniper puts a sword through his chest. It's 100 Thieves 2-0.
And that goes so wrong for TL, right? Like, you were doing such a good job of kind of trying to keep this Naafiri from snowballing, right? Like, even though they were able to get onto the grubs, you were able to disrupt mid, but that is really crucial for 100 Thieves, especially that last kill going over to Sniper, who was, as you pointed out, Isaac, struggling in lane.
Yeah, and I mean, look at the W here on this Azir. Ult is going to be able to immune it as River goes over the wall, so he stays in on him, able to get that extra damage out. UmTi just has to use this kind of ulti as a disengage. He didn't have the mark on him, so he knocks River back, but then he tries to go in for the kill. He gets the Eclipse Shield. He's able to actually survive there at the end, and that is very big. They get the 2 kills. They lose no one. They take the grubs. He was doing bot side scuttle, and FBI loving it.
And
actually,
actually,
he didn't have Eclipse Shield.
Yeah, it's not the Eclipse Shield. It's the shield on the second cast of the ulti. Once you get the reset, the first cast obviously not giving the shield, but the second one giving the dog that extra survivability after she first dives in. It's something that if you're not used to playing against Naafiri a lot, because the champion is only recently reworked, because it's banned so often, it can catch you off guard when you're not expecting that last little bit of burst, and it makes it so UmTi doesn't have enough to trade anything back. 100 Thieves now up to a 1,000 gold lead here 9 minutes into the game. They got the first 3 grubs. Nobody has made a move on a dragon yet, and it looks like it'll be River starting up this first one.
Yeah, they're giving looks to it, and again, this is really, really nice from 100 Thieves. Another thing that I'll be looking at from them in terms of like how they use the MF is rotating her around the map to create map pressure as the game goes on. But again, like, the thing that I think 100 Thieves have improved the most on from last year is their turn on to objectives, right? Like, it's not just they're fighting, it's they always seem to be getting something after they win a fight. And we see that right there from them as they're able to get onto the Drake after getting mid-prio.
I'd also say having an early Ocean is actually really nice for Aatrox into Jayce, and even Azir, you know, for the Ryze into the Azir. So going to be feeling pretty good about their spot. They're now 1 kill off of the feats of warfare. They're 1 kill off of or 1 objective off of getting that feat as well, and then they just have that already fully completed. So 100 Thieves running the early game. It's only a slight gold lead, but definitely in a really good spot.
And the big reason for that, only a slight gold lead, is still the top lane. It's still plus almost 300 gold for Impact, despite 1 kill and 1 assist on Sniper. And you need to look no further than the CS counts to see why. 97 to 63. Yes, Sniper should be able to pick up most, if not all, of this wave crashing into the turret right now, but it's still a long way to go before he catches up to Impact's Jayce, who, Team Liquid fans, this is what you're looking at to be a big difference maker as this game goes on. Yeon with a nice change of corruption there on the FBI, who fires back the bullet time to guarantee that the Varus has to keep his distance. Can't follow up with enough damage to threaten a kill.
It does get the barrier again as well, and as you say, just kind of keeping him back, clearing out the wave, so FBI going to be pretty happy about that. It's really about the one-item power spike for MF. That's when you kind of just have full control over mid lane, especially against a pick like this Pope Varus. Once you have the BT, you just can't really be threatened anymore, and that's where it's so hard to maintain that prio through mid, and then MF always has first move towards the sides for objectives, which is so beneficial.
Speaking of objectives, 1 grub of the second set has already been claimed by UmTi and TL, and they want to commit everybody up here to deal with the entirety of this objective set. Impact is walking down towards bottom lane, but he has a teleport to join if he needs it. FBI is down to about 40% HP, stuck over in mid lane, as Eyla and River try to make their entry into the grub pit, now engaging on APA. Sniper spreads his wings for the World Ender, and 100 Thieves has made their entry. Nice disengage coming out from CoreJJ to keep 100 Thieves back. Now Impact's got to be careful, because River's diving onto him here with a Hound's Pursuit. The Ryze ulti, the Realm Warp, cutting off Impact's escape. The grub should still be claimed by TL. That will be the case. All 3 of the second set going their way, but it will come at the cost of Impact, who is sacrificed to make that space. Feat of Warfare claimed by 100 Thieves.
Yeah, and the big thing for me was that FBI was not able to get into that fight, right? Because I think that it actually goes even better for 100 Thieves in terms of the fight itself. If he's able to get in, Yeon being able to poke him out in mid was actually massive there. Does allow TL to pick up those 3 grubs, but then Impact ends up teleporting into his death.
Yeah, TP'd in on the flank, but obviously tough when you're kind of sectioned out from the team. Nice attempt at the engage from Eyla. Does trade his flash out with APA, gets that, but then the double knockback here ends up kind of working against Impact in a lot of ways, because Impact arrives and they're all around him. River doesn't hesitate whatsoever, just fully commits in onto him. The Ryze ult comes in to help. Sniper is flanking, so there's no real way out there for Impact. Does trade flashes with Quid, so at the very least gets that, but at the end of the day, he is going to get knocked down. And it's a kill for FBI, who already had that slight gold lead and who is very close to cashing out his Cull. So when he does that, we can expect BT already done. Cull about to cash out. He's going to be in a really good spot.
River jumping in after UmTi, unafraid to take these scraps. Does have that Eclipse that you were talking about earlier, Isaac. Seems to be the item of choice first for Naafiri in the jungle. Such a powerful item for these small skirmishes, these quick bursts and trades. And now River with his bottom lane right next to him, taking the blast cone over the wall. They see Core there again, but he's not close enough to the Krug pit to really get blasted, as now Impact's in some danger. It's a 4v1 and there's nothing to it besides that. Quid's taking a kill yet again. 2-0-2, 100% kill participation here in the mid lane Ryze.
I love stuff like this from 100 Thieves, because we've talked about how teams seem to be...
Nice bullet time over the wall to back up when Ayla's putting down, and Quid's got enough damage to guarantee they send it all the way. 100 Thieves, right when it looks like they've got enough, they're backing off. They get another one. Beautifully played with the Wombo combo, Alistar and MF.
Yeah, there are a lot of reasons why teams are afraid to go for dives right now, right? Or more afraid to go for dives. Not 100 Thieves. You could see the setup going in as they were all rotating down, setting up for that dive onto Impact. And then to your point, Clayton, like, I love that they still push for that extra kill. They realize they have the setup. That's something that this team has never lost.
That minion just decided it doesn't want to die. So staying with the tower.
I don't want to go, sir.
Look at that thing. He's just staying right there. He's trying to stay camouflaged.
Maybe if I stand here long enough, they won't notice that I'm AWOL.
It's actually just there. This has happened to me before and actually screwed up so that the wave pushed the other way and stuff.
Oh, God. That would be
definitely
so
be
tilting.
pretty weird.
Okay, well, that minion is just going to stay hiding in the bunker.
It will attack once things get in range, but I've had this happen to me. It just stays there, and you can kill it and get gold.
It's just vibing.
Yeah, it's just vibing.
Okay, Vibe Lord minion. Quid is going to protect it.
Keep him safe.
It took one hit, but it's still a lot. This is like an escort mission. In an old console game, you have to escort the minion safely to the end of the game.
I'm willing to give you 2 more wins if you can keep them alive to the end of the game. Marco will back me up on this.
Wins.
Yeah, if you can keep the minion alive to the end of the game. 2 more wins. It could be potentially 4-0 after this game.
Not a bad deal. I'd take that deal. Minion would be happy to take that deal as well. I don't think APA is going to let him take that deal. Yeah, I think the escort quest is about to fail. But down here in bottom lane, Impact's the one in danger. Again, 100 Thieves sending the boys after the Team Liquid top laner. That last bouncing bullet doesn't even need to bounce. Impact's down for the third time. And the Jayce that started off with a strong laning phase has now been smacked back down to earth.
They didn't even need River there. He was too busy getting the Drake, and that was a set play, right? You saw him TPing down Rip Minion.
All right, B. In the arms of the angels. Fly away from here.
Gone but not forgotten.
Oh, I was about to start singing. That would have been really bad.
Look at mid and bot, though, is that one going so well. 400 Thieves, they've been moving around the map really, really well. I do feel like Ryze fits the playstyle of Quid and kind of one of those champions that I really could identify as something good with him.
No!
We didn't give him a name.
Did he get the last hit at least? Didn't even get the last hit. He died for nothing.
Just let him die to minion on minion violence. You're right, audience. Justice for that minion. Bullet time over the wall. Yeon has to disengage and get the hell out of his own side of the jungle.
Yeah.
100
Made them not walk somewhere for a second.
Yes, but I mean, hey, he's had some good results of the bullet time here so far, but now Sniper, emboldened by recent events, ready to go after Impact here in the 1v1. Would have had the advantage there in that. Unfortunately for him, APA is ready to back up his top laner. Now 100 Thieves with control over the top side river, knowing that there are two Team Liquid players in the bottom lane. They also know this Rift Herald is theirs.
Yeah, I was going to say that pulls APA bot. Aatrox is easily able to get out and then gives them pressure on the top side. They're able to take this Rift Herald. These are the exact type cross-map plays that 100 Thieves have been a lot more thoughtful about.
Yeah, they're doing it really, really well. You know, you just move Ryze out to the side lane, MF, full control over mid lane as soon as the BT is completed, and now they're looking to even threaten on Yeon.
Yeah, you wanted to see a little bit more from the engage from Eyla if you were on the side of 100 Thieves with CoreJJ doing a good job stopping that from accomplishing what they wanted to do with the use of the steadfast presence. Eyla just pops Unbreakable Will and disengages it.
Honestly, you know, unless you have Flash, you're not really going to be able to get by Core unless he makes a pretty big mistake. So it's tough. At the end of the day, they just kind of trade ultimates. Varus ult for the ult there from Eyla, but he's just putting on that pressure, making sure there's no chance they can defend. TL did trade back a tier 1 on bot side. But again, it is 100 Thieves moving the game forward. They knock down all of the outers now at this point. A 3K gold lead, a 2 dragon lead, and they are looking really, really strong.
And that does open up so much space, right? For this Ryze to get in, for the Naafiri to get in, potentially catch someone out. Making the map dark for TL is great for 100 Thieves, especially with this composition where they are theoretically looking to pick someone off before a 5v5 starts.
And you can see, look at the inventory of Quid stacking up on both those items with the engage. CoreJJ and APA were sitting in that bot side brush for so long, and it pays off as they get the kill on Sniper. Now River and Eyla trying to get away, but it doesn't matter. Another kill follows through, and River dies despite Naafiri's evasiveness. Chains of Corruption fly out, but hit no target. Team Liquid feeling real happy about picking up those 2 kills. They want to try to secure the tier 2 turret in the bot lane right after. If the first wave is cleared out by the bullet time, the rest of TL waiting over the wall, hoping somebody from 100 Thieves walks a little too close.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, FBI did use it. It was just 1 cannon, though, that he ulted there, so not going to have it for this wave. Looks like he will be able to clear this out pretty quickly, though, and does have Eyla behind him. Nice couple picks, though, from TL. Core lays a trap with APA. They get the 100-0 there onto Sniper, and then they're able to just use that pressure to chase after River. He knows he can't turn and fight because they lost their top laner already. It's just a great setup here out of the bush. They saw Sniper. Core was in the tri-brush, so he spotted him actually on the Gromp and just walks over here and decides, you know what, we're going to wait. We're going to lay a trap. We have eyes on him. And just really nicely played. Slam him into the wall, 100-0. They get the ulti knockup, plus the Azir damage from that ult, and it's just an easy kill.
Yeah, and UmTi follows up here by further chasing them. And again, this TL composition does have range. They do have a lot of poke. That was a really good demonstration of it right there. And now we're going to see if 100 Thieves will be able to regroup as they're looking to get some more vision on the spot side.
So if we go back to pregame when the analysts were talking, this was around the point of the game that Raz was bringing up as the point of doom for 100 Thieves against Team Liquid in multiple different games.
It's about the same gold lead as well.
Yeah, it's about the same gold lead.
In Game 2 and 3 of the finals.
It's about the same time on the clock This is where 100 Thieves have fumbled previously, and so this is where you want to see them lock in and make sure not to now, because we have the dragon spawning in 20 seconds. If they get that, they're at a very early soul point. It will give them a position of power for the rest of the game. Otacon also spawning in the bot side river right next to that Drake. This is a recipe for either great success or great disaster. Quid has his Seraph's Embrace completed. Sniper's ready to go with the World Ender, but he is immediately tagged with the Chains of Corruption. Bullet time over the wall. It pops Yeon's barrier, but not a whole lot more. 100 Thieves now going after the Drake itself. Quid has the Seraphs. He has his Rod of Ages either at 9, maybe now 10 stacks. The Ryze is very powerful, but Team Liquid is stepping up, ready to challenge. The Drake down to 3,000 HP. River should be able to secure this one without a real contest from UmTi, and 100 Thieves will take the objective.
Yeah, nicely done. 100 Thieves going to be able to get it without a fight. UmTi trying to zone them away from that tower, though.
We might get a fight instead. UmTi jumps in. Quid's going to be taken down to 40% HP, and Eyla gets killed before anything else even happens. FBI under pressure as River jumps back in to protect him from UmTi. Impact needs to try to get away as Sniper looks for an entry point, but APA with a massive shuffle finds the enemy jungler. Quid's taken out by APA. History repeats itself yet again, and 100 Thieves fall to pieces under the Team Liquid tide.
It's a massive fight there for TL. They're going to be able to get Otacon off the back of that as well. They get everything. A great initial fight starts out, and then APA just finds his moment, gets in, gets the ulti back on multiple members. Core gets a stun on the MF against the wall, and they kind of just get everything. 100 Thieves could have just walked out the safe way. Instead, they kind of try to force their way through while MF is trying to get towards that mid-tier 1, and their Aatrox is trying to go bot. They're all split up, and the fight is just so disjointed.
Yeah, and props to UmTi for being able to find that engage. I think he has gotten a lot of rightful criticism. Oh, that's a great shuffle from APA. He's gotten a lot of rightful criticism, right, for his engages ahead of the team. This time, the team is behind him. He also lives such a long time with that Zhao ult. And then APA being able to show up on the Azir.
He's looking hype. He's looking hype about it. And honestly, I like the fact that Liquid wanted to go in for that. I have no idea why 100 Thieves was hanging around, because when you look at the ultis, remember that both Bullet Time and World Ender were used in the initial play to chase TL away and didn't get anything other than Yeon's barrier. I don't know how you're going to win a team fight without those two big ults.
I don't think that they were even trying to fight. I think they just took really greedy paths, because MF had moved back behind the mid-tier 1 to try to clear out that wave. Aatrox had already gone down bottom, and it just seemed like the other three were not respecting the fact that TL could still be there.
Well, now Impact gonna have to respect the fact that River is on the prowl. A little bit more damage will be required to get this kill, but shouldn't have a problem getting there. 200 gold, of course, the bounty now for the false lives, so it feels a lot better. But yeah, that was the throw right there, and Team Liquid now still firmly in the driver's seat despite losing Impact's bonus life.
Yeah, and they have complete control over this top side. Are going to be sieging onto this top tier 2. And again, with this composition, with the range that they have, they can mow down turrets so quickly, and 100 Thieves have to come into them now.
All right, 100 Thieves. Let's see if they can now scramble to play defense in the wake of the mistake of 20 minutes.
I mean, I think that 100 Thieves are just going to try to just not fight. Unless they get a freebie in the sideline or something like that, they're just going to try to wave clear, right? They're just going to keep aggressively wave clearing. If it does get tough, they can use the ulti.
Hold on, Ayla's jumped in. The fight is broken out, but it's Eyla who's in danger as UmTi stops the damage from the bullet time thanks to the Crescent Guard, and APA gets the kill on Eyla with the damage over time. Yeon goes on a rampage, and Sniper is down. That was quite a caster curse, Azale.
You thought 100 Thieves were not going to fight.
I mean, they have GAs. There's literally no reason. You can just ult the wave and stand at your tower, and there's nothing that TL can do in that spot. Instead, they try to take this fight, and I'm not really sure why. Eyla ends up giving over a freebie. They're now going to lose the tier 2 tower, and they lose their top laner as well. Instead of really giving up nothing, which is what I think they had to give up, instead, it's going to be even more of a gold lead, about another 2,000 gold, because the tier 2 towers are worth so much, plus you get those 2 kills, plus the bonus gold from this Otacon that you get on every single kill. And now they put themselves in a really tough spot, because really, I think they could have just waited out the GAs and played for Seoul, but it feels like 100 Thieves get really frazzled when there is a mistake. You know, it's like they make this one mistake, and then they're trying to, make up for it, and that's causing them to make the next mistake.
I don't even know if it's frazzled, but I do think they constantly are looking for fights without necessarily realizing that they might not. Like this too is 100 Thieves, right? Like this is the other side where we're talking about the things they've improved on in terms of getting objectives after fights, cross-map trading, stuff like that. Here we see the other vintage 100 Thieves, right? Where they are picking fights in a position where they really shouldn't be.
Well, now the clock is definitely ticking against them as they are going to need to stop making these poor fight choices. Otherwise, Team Liquid will get to the point where there's just no way for 100 Thieves to withstand the lead. A 4K gold lead from what was a massive lead for 100 Thieves earlier. What, 3,000? That's a 7,000 total gold swing from 4 minutes ago.
Even just where the gold is, right? You know, we had seen Quid at this big advantage, FBI at this big advantage. Now they are both behind. The Azir is getting so strong. And now you get to this point where Ryze is kind of forced to group and take these fights. You can't play through side lanes as much. And you're going to get heavily outranged by both the Varus and the Azir. And Yeon has been kind of a hero on every champion, but Varus in specific, you know, over 67% kill participation. He's involved in everything. He has a really good win rate on it and has been so good. And really, when Yeon gets ahead, TL does very, very good things. I know with his at 14 stats, it's like when he's up, their win percentage is incredibly high, and when he's not, they kind of just don't win. So so goes Yeon, so goes the game often for TL.
Well, Yeon, despite the fact that he only just recently came into a gold lead, is still 4-0-3, 7 out of 9 kill participation here in this game. Team Liquid just securing themselves what would have been the Seoul if 100 Thieves got it, and it was secured no contest because the Thieves do not feel confident walking up to take a fight in open ground. Team Liquid now the ones with the confidence to move into enemy territory, place down the wards, sweep out enemy vision, make this map very dark and very scary, because for the next 4 minutes, the only thing either team really has to care about is Baron.
Yeah, and they have such good vision set up on the bot side too. Prior to Ryze coming down to get that bot wave, they'd also set up their waves so they were pushing in. This is where, from positions like this, TL look the best in my opinion. They do have a really strong understanding of lane assignments. They do have a really strong understanding of how to set the map in their favor when they're ahead, especially again with a composition like this with so much range. And Yeon on something as comfortable as the Varus.
So if you're 100 Thieves, what's the plan here? What's the bandage to stop the bleeding and get this back to a point where you're feeling more confident in it? Because ever since the initial slip up, it hasn't really felt like that footing has stopped slipping away.
I mean, it's tough. I feel like they have to get some sort of pick, like here.
Okay, they want to go after Yeon, but he's fast enough on the escape. He flashes out of Eyla and Quid's attempt. They wanted to use the Realm Warp to make the pincer attack, but Yeon was ready.
Yeah, and that didn't end up working out, but that is the type of play.
They spot it, though.
Okay, Quid can just walk away from it. That thing has to channel for quite a while. APA flashing forward to guarantee that he catches FBI. Now Yeon's right behind him, ready to follow it up. One more shot gets it done. A one-for-one trade that was APA has to fall. Impact jumping into the back line, going after Quid as Team Liquid need to find a bit more damage. Quid sidestepping away from the accelerated shock blast, and Impact jumping right back into the sky. Sniper dies, more damage onto River. Goodbye, 100 Thieves. Double kill of it to CoreJJ. It's a 4-for-2. Team Liquid.
APA with another huge shuffle here, finding multiple members in the mid lane, has the flash predict on their flashes, is in there, sweeps them back, and that is a huge win for TL. Thankfully for 100 Thieves, they did at least kill off APA and Yeon, so it's not such an easy Baron take immediately after, but TL's looking like they just want to try it regardless here. This is kind of risky, though. I do think that if Eyla and Quid suss this out, they have a chance to stop it. Like, Impact is coming, but there's not ultimates, there's not summoners, and this still is a strong Ryze.
Yeah, Quid's strong enough to at least distract them all, right? Like, because CoreJJ's at no HP. If he jumps in on Quid, he dies to one spell rotation. So Team Liquid will think better of it. They'll back away. APA's flash there is beautiful after he engages, though, like knowing, okay, he's going to flash away. We need to make sure we kill him. Really like the heads-up play from him there. I thought he had a real struggler of a game yesterday, so glad to see him bouncing back better here today.
Especially on something like the Azir, right, where he's been so heavily criticized of once you get past your comfort picks, you can't play XY insert champion here, right? And Azir was one of those picks. that he has
Oh, the engage.
Oh boy, the engage is ready to go. They wanted to use Realm Warp on Eyla specifically to give him the angle, but he does not find it. Lots of ults traded off to the side of that fight before it ever really broke out here too. Eyla down to just barely any HP. Remember, there's no chains of corruption. Poppy doesn't have the Keeper's Verdict yet. Crescent Guard was also used in the earlier scrap on the side.
I mean, they Realm Warp him in, but Core's just there to body block, and he stuns him against the wall. He doesn't waste his W, so Eyla can't even try a combo because Core's just sitting on his W waiting to be able to actually interrupt if he goes for any of those carries. So nice little attempt, but with Core there's no play happening. And now we'll have to see if his ultimate is even going to be back up, if his flash is going to be back up for this next dragon, because that is still a great opportunity. 400 Thieves, they are still on soul point. If they can find a pick or find a good fight prior to it, Quid is looking like he wants to potentially just start up this Baron. I think they want to get the TP here out from APA. APA and Impact are both down on bot side. And actually, does AP even have a teleport? It looks like it's still shortly on cooldown.
Yeah, I believe there is still a little bit of cooldown left on the
They're just
TP from
gonna kill this
APA. So 100 Thieves pulling off the heist, sneaking the Baron 31 minutes into the game with 15 seconds until the next Drake spawn.
That's a great call, but also a pretty big misstep from TL. I couldn't quite tell, but it does look like APA just had a bit of cooldown on his TP, and Impact was going behind him on the bot side, and he definitely didn't have his TP. So sending 2 members down to bot side with Baron up and no teleports is really, really risky. And 100 Thieves find that window to punish. They will give up this dragon, but they're just going to play for the tier 2 top. They're going to play for additional gold here and just try to claw back that gold lead and get themselves into a spot where they're going to feel really comfortable.
And Clayton, you asked, like, oh, what do 100 Thieves have to do to get back in this game, right? We saw them trying to make the picks even when those attempts were rebuffed, like the Realm Warp onto Eyla, like the other Ryze play that they attempted that Yeon was able to thwart off. This Baron is another great example of them recognizing they can sneak in, potentially get this, burn this down so quickly when 2 TL members are on the bot side of the map and can't contest.
Yeah, it feels like the soul point status of 100 Thieves there isn't so much being used as a win condition, it's more of an insurance policy. You're just saying, okay, we've got all these early, so you guys can't get a soul. We're going to take the Baron instead, try to catch up in terms of gold, but APA with another nice 2-man shuffle. FBI at half HP as CoreJJ tackles in for the point-blank Keeper's Verdict, and APA's killed FBI. The battle of letters goes the way of Team Liquid as Quid has to flash away in the chains of corruption, instead find River. Yeon grabs the kill, and Sniper's not long for this world. Another spear through the heart or a bullet to the head. It's Impact guaranteeing it's done as Team Liquid have cleaned up all 4 of them. Baron or not, it's APA again, finding the shuffle, finding the engage, finding the path for Team Liquid to mount their comeback and take down 100 Thieves.
APA to everyone who says they can't play Azir, he's like, I can play Azir. That was a great game for him. Clutch shuffles. What a performance from TL.
I mean, APA in particular, really, really good in these fights. It was 3, if not 4, massive shuffles that felt like they were game-defining, fight-defining, really able to help them claw back. Core as well, playing so well at actually just denying Eyla. The fact that we never got to see a good Eyla combo in these fights, pairing up with the MF, who is so strong, is largely due to how Core played. The MF ulti, all that got the whole game was a barrier here and there.